Hi, I'm Heath. I'm in the project management team at DESU Designer Homes. So today we're going to talk about the difference between a elevated floor and a slab on ground. The first thing that will come into your decision as to whether you're going to go slab on ground or elevated floor will generally be due to your block. If you've got a sloping block and you've got to start to spend a lot of money on cut and fill and retaining walls to be able to put a slab on ground, you will benefit from going to an elevated floor. A slab on ground can have its benefits in the fact that they are not noisy. You can walk around on a slab on ground and your neighbours will not hear you. It gives you more of an option for your claddings and things like that. You can have a heavyweight cladding with a slab on ground, whether it be Hebel, bricks, any of those finishes, because they are load bearing onto the slab. Slab on ground, you can get your heating and everything into them, and basically they are a more solid structure. Your elevated floors have the benefits in the fact that you haven't got the cut and fill. You get wind flow underneath them in the hot regions. They can be a cooler house. They can be noisier, but that depends on what finishings you put down on your floor as well, and also the structure that they're made out of. Elevated floor systems can be dearer than your slab on ground, but that will also come down to how much of a cut and fill you're going to do if you are running with a slab on ground as well. Cut and fill is where you have a block that is usually on a slight slope, and your house is going to end up through the middle of the block, so you have to cut the back out of the block, and you take the dirt from the back of the block and you put it in the front of the block, which will mean that you need to retain the front and maybe also retain the back, and so you've cut the back and pushed it into the front to end up with a level pad for your house to sit on. That can generally also mean having to peer down through the fill and find the solid rock. So really it comes down to your block choice. When you are looking for your block, am I going to want slab on ground? Am I going to want an elevated floor system? Some people want polished concrete. This really comes down to you need a slab on ground, or you need to do a ring beam and fill the floor area to get your slab up, and then do your polished concrete. You're getting into big money to do that. Your elevated floor, generally people have the perception that they are going to be dearer than a slab on ground, but this also is influenced by the amount of slope on the block and the amount, the length of your piers or your stumps. Subfloor bracing, the higher you get, the more bracing you need to put under your subfloor, and then you also get down to your finishings that you're going to put on that floor inside as well, which can have an influence on cost. So that's really the gist of the difference between an elevated floor system and slab on ground.
So if I've got a flat block of land, would it be crazy for me to build an elevated home on it? It
would, yep. Your best option is to put a slab on ground. It's definitely your cheaper option.
I like the look of elevated floors better.
Yeah, an elevated floor, I mean, you can maybe get a bit more shape to your house, but then depends on whether you want to see the stumps underneath, or whether you want to enclose from the floor level down to the ground. Then that's adding more cost as well. So it all comes down to preference and geography too. You know, some places, flood levels, floodplains have a lot to do with elevated floors too. It's cheaper if you are in a flood area to elevate your house with a subfloor rather than trying to build it up with a concrete pad.